Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Dr. Rebecca Anthony, and I work for Decipher at Cardiff University. Today, we're going to be talking about social media and well-being, using the SHRN data to better understand the digital lives of children and young people. Okay, so over the last few decades, online communication has become a really integral aspect of daily life for young people in the UK. With 99% of 12 to 15-year-olds connected to the internet. The age at which young people are using digital technologies to communicate is also getting younger. So 9 and 10 now own a mobile phone before the age of 11. And this increased ease of access to the internet has meant that adolescents are now devoting an increased amount of time to social media, with 1 in 5 adolescents stating they are on a social media platform almost constantly. And this widespread use of social media by young people has spurred a lot of speculation and concern, particularly around health and mental health and well-being. The relationship between social media and mental health has been hotly debated. It seems to be, I almost see articles daily about the link. So on one side of the debate is the argument that screen time itself is not harmful to young people. And there have been several articles published stating that we are too concerned about screen time. On the other hand of the debate, we have news outlets like this stating that smartphones and social media in particular are kind of destroying young people's mental health. So what does the evidence actually tell us? Well, unfortunately, the evidence is actually extremely mixed and it doesn't paint a clear picture. So on the left, there's a handful of studies that my colleague Jessica Armitage selected from hundreds that have been published. And some of these are meta-analysis, so the kind of highest form of quality you can get. And they've shown a negative impact of social media on mental health. And then on the right are some of the studies showing no clear evidence of a negative association. So one concluded that there is a small overall effect size observed in the relationship between self-reported social media use and depressive symptoms. And this suggests that other factors are likely act as kind of significant moderators in the relationship. So why is the evidence so mixed? So there's multiple screen-based measures. So studies don't always take into account kind of the smartphones, tablets, computers, televisions, different aspects. Some studies look at the kind of time spent online versus kind of smartphone addiction versus kind of the goal-orientated behaviours and the role of different mediators and moderators. And also the fact that research really struggles to keep up because there's kind of almost a new app happening so often that it's hard to get hard to keep up with the digital world really. And social media is known to be related to other outcomes which are closely linked to mental health. So these include sleep. Young people may be staying up later or not turning their phones off, so kind of not getting the amount of sleep that they did previously. Being on social media may be a substitute for something they were doing before, such as exercise. It's also obviously linked with cyberbullying and things like diet and nutrition, to name a few. And that makes it difficult to tease apart whether the impact of social media is direct or whether it occurs through these different pathways. And there remains considerable uncertainty about how social media use relates to mental health and well-being. And researchers are kind of urged to go beyond measures of screen time to consider kind of how and why young people are using social media, and also who may be at greater risk of kind of those negative outcomes. So to try and unpick this further, we've used the School Health Research Network surveys, which I'll go and explain. So I know for some of you that come to a lot of SHRN webinars, you'll know lots about SHRN and the surveys, but I just wanted to do a quick recap. So the School Health Research Network. So it's recognised that school is a critical time for young people's health when both kind of healthy and unhealthy habits and behaviours can emerge and become set. The School Health Research Network is a policy practice research partnership between the Welsh Government, Public Health Wales and Cardiff University. The aim of the network is to improve the health and well-being of children and young people in Wales by, firstly, providing robust health and well-being data for schools and national regional stakeholders, to generate new research evidence on how best to improve children and young people's well-being in the school setting, and to help schools and those who support schools to understand health research evidence and how it can be used in schools. Okay, so the SHRN, the Student Health and Wellbeing Survey, is a survey that runs every other year in mainstream primary and secondary schools across Wales. You can see some of the themes here in the screenshot, but it covers health and wellbeing topics, including mental health and wellbeing, physical activity, diet, sleep, relationships, school connectedness, and a whole lot more. Who participates? So we have 100% of maintained secondary schools registered with SHRN, and 2024 saw the expansion into primary schools with 54% registered for the survey. And my colleague Shujin will be talking about the findings from the primary school survey later. So in the latest secondary survey, nearly 130,000 secondary school pupils participated. So it's a huge data set generated for local school level. So schools receive individual bespoke reports on their learners, and regional and national data for Public Health Wales and the Welsh Government to inform policy and practice. The SHRN data has been used and referenced in over 30 national policies and strategies, so it really is embedded into the education, health and wellbeing infrastructure in Wales. And if you would like to find out more about SHRN, our SHRN team hosting this event would be happy to discuss it with you. Okay, so for the first paper to examine the online communication using the secondary school survey, our objectives were to, firstly, examine the association between online communication with different groups of friends and with mental health and well-being. And this was among the secondary school pupils, so they were 11 to 16 in Wales. And secondly, to see if the association between communication with different groups of friends and well-being varied by gender. And note that this was the 2019 survey, and online communication was operationalized, as sending and receiving text messages, emoticons, and photo, video, or audio messages through instant messaging, e.g. WhatsApp or Snapchat, social network sites, e.g. Facebook, or email on a computer, laptop, tablet, or smartphone. So it's quite broad in the definition. And what did we find? So students are highly engaged on social networking sites. 82% of students reported connecting with their closest friends at least once a day, and nearly 30% reported being available almost all the time throughout the day. Students also reported frequently communicating with their larger group of friends online, with 52% reporting doing this daily, and 35% of students reported online communication with virtual friends made online. Also to note, in this study, 13% of students reported at least one instance of cyberbullying victimization online, and 4% reported being the victim of at least 3 instances of cyberbullying. Students were also asked whether they use social media to escape from negative feelings, with 40% reporting that they had used social media as a form of escapism. So the regression models, which controlled for socio-demographics, as well as friendship quality, cyberbullying, and passive social media use, showed that frequent online communication with best friends that they've made in real life and the wider friendship groups was associated with higher levels of well-being. So the kind of more that they communicated with their best friends online, the higher their well-being was. However, the frequency of online contact with virtual friends, so these are friends that they've only made online and don't know in kind of real life, was associated with poorer well-being. And this was worse for girls rather than boys. So, conclusions and next steps. I think the findings kind of seem surprising because of this kind of media picture, this kind of blanket societal idea that actually mobile phones are bad, particularly for mental health. But this study kind of provides evidence of some positive gains from communicating online with friends, such as staying connected. However, while communicating online may be okay for the majority, there are certain subgroups that are more vulnerable to harm. In our study, adolescent girls in particular, and those who were spending most of their time engaged with people they didn't know in real life, were the most at risk of poor mental well-being. So it's important to look at the nuance. So who adolescents engaging with and kind of how are they using the internet. And so there's a link to the published paper there if you want to know more. And now I'll pass over to Xujin, who will talk more about findings from the primary school survey.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shujun Liu. I'm a research associate at Cardiff University. And following Rebecca's speech on the influence of social media on secondary school students, I'll be exploring this topic with a focus on primary school students in Wales. With the rapid development of digital technologies, social media and online communication are becoming increasingly common among younger children. Although many social media platforms have a minimal age requirement of around 13, a recent report from Ofcom highlights that nearly half of children in the UK aged 3 to 12 are using at least one social media app. And this trend raises important questions about the impact of early exposure to social media on children's development. Therefore, it becomes critical to extend our research beyond the teenagers or secondary school students and focus on primary school children who are navigating these digital spaces. And meanwhile, although a significant body of research has focused on the effects of social media use on adolescents and teenagers, there is a gap when it comes to studies on younger children, especially those who are from the primary school. And as we know, the development stages of younger children differ significantly from teenagers, meaning their interactions with social media and the digital platforms could have unique effects on their cognitive, emotional, and social development. And furthermore, as Rebecca mentioned in her earlier talk, there's still a great deal of uncertainty regarding whether social media use has a positive or negative impact on young people's mental health and overall well-being. And some studies suggest that social media use may promote social interactions and provide learning opportunities, while others warn of potential harms, including anxiety, depression, and social isolation. And these mixed findings make it necessary to explore the nuanced differences in digital behaviors and their diverse effects on mental health. And considering these points, this research will address three research questions. The first one is to understand the extent of social media use among primary school students in Wales. And the second, we aim to analyze both the broad effects of online communication and the specific impact of social media use on mental health. And third, we aim to explore whether these effects will differ across demographic factors, especially gender. And to investigate, we use the SHRN Data site for primary school. Since 2022, our mainstream primary schools in Wales with year 3 to 6 students were invited to attend a survey to expand SHRN into primary schools. And around 30,000 children from 354 schools, approximately around 30% primary school in Wales attended the survey. And in these surveys, social media and online communication was measured by asking questions. How often do you use social media and how frequently do you speak to your families and friends online? And the mental health was assessed using the me and my feeling scale, which separates emotional and behavior difficulties. And the emotional difficulties section focuses on the feelings of sadness, anxiety, and stress, while the behavior difficulties section focuses on the issues like conduct problems. And the logistic regression analysis was used in this study. The descriptive statistics first reveal that around 40% of primary school children never use social media, while over 30% use it daily, indicating a split between complete avoidance and routine engagement. And this divergence indicates the differing attitudes and the behaviors towards social media use at a young age, which may be influenced by factors such as parental controls, family affluence, and gender. And we also discovered that girls and children with other gender identities are more likely to use social media daily compared to boys who report higher rates of non-use. And to examine the effects of social media use and online communication on mental health, we use logistic regression and in logistic regression, the coefficients greater than 1 indicate a positive association, meaning that as the variable increases, so does the likelihood of the outcome occurring, whereas the coefficient below 1 suggests a negative association. And our analysis revealed that social media use is positively associated with both emotional and behavior difficulties, suggesting that increased social media engagement is linked to poorer mental health outcomes. And on the other hand, online communication, particularly with family members, was found to be negatively associated with emotional and behavior difficulties. However, communication with friends did not show a significant impact on mental health in this context. And these findings highlight the complex relationship between digital engagement and mental health, underscoring the importance of considering not only the frequency of social media use, but also the context and the type of online communication when evaluating its effects on children's well-being. We also found a moderating role of gender, and our analysis shows that the negative effect of social media use on emotional difficulties is stronger for girls and children with other gender identities than for boys. And similarly, the negative association between social media use and the behavior difficulties was also more pronounced among girls. And overall, these gender differences highlight the importance of considering gender as a key factor when examining the impact of social media use on children's mental health. And the stronger negative effects among girls and children with other gender identities suggest that tailored interventions and support systems are needed to address the specific vulnerabilities of these groups. In summary, combining the findings from primary and secondary school, we discovered that social media use is negatively linked to mental health for both primary and secondary school students. And online communication, however, has a positive association. And for secondary school students, interactions with friends have a beneficial impact, potentially helping to foster social connections and emotional support. And for primary school students, however, online communication with family members plays a more crucial role in supporting mental health, potentially offering a safe and nurturing space for children to express themselves and seek comfort. And an important and consistent findings across both primary and secondary school students is that the negative impact of social media on mental health is stronger for girls than for boys. And this gender difference suggests that girls may be more vulnerable to the pressure and the emotional challenges associated with social media use, such as body image concerns or social comparison. And based on these findings, we propose three potential actions. The first is to enhance children's digital literacy is essential. Actually, schools and parents could teach students to foster positive online interactions while also encouraging responsible social media use and develop critical thinking about online content. And the second, our previous research indicates that children's perceived offline social support from teachers, family, and friends will reduce social media addiction. So we recommend to boost offline socialization opportunities for children. And third, Given gender's moderating role, we advocate for gender-sensitive mental health initiative and counseling services to address the stronger negative impact on girls. And that's the end of this presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. Any questions or comments are welcomed. Thank you.